I just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. It is a Mark front row. Mark the Man Dantuma and Mark Nelson have the front row. Donald Durant, Aaron Mason on the second row. Rick Surgeon and Gerald Thanos Poole on the third row. Donald, Aaron, and Rick do not yet have nicknames. Put your suggestions for those three drivers' nicknames in the comments. Mark Dantuma in a Chevy here tonight. He was the fastest in practice, was the fastest in qualifying. Will he be the fastest here in the race? The Mark Nelson is not a huge fan of this car and track combo. Two of the top drivers in the points up front, but Mark Nelson, the points leader, has been struggling here tonight. Both Marks already have a win this season. We'll see if one of the other drivers can knock the Marks off their pedestals. Here we go through 3 and 4. The pace car about to drop in. Pace car is in. Green flag is in the air there, down and away at Iowa. The inside line did not get off to a good start. Looked like Donald Durant may have struggled. Mark Dantuma off like a bullet, followed by Mark Nelson. Durant, though, fighting his way quickly back to third. Aaron Mason in fourth, Rick Surgeon in fifth, Gerald Poole in sixth. Oh, Gerald, hold on. Gerald is hard into the wall in 1 and 2. Donald Durant has had a problem on the backstretch. No caution yet. Now the caution flies on lap 2. Cold tires, here at Iowa, you're always going to be a little bit loose. Keep an eye on Gerald Poole. Here they come to the green. Barney waves the green. It looked like Gerald did not get off to a great start. Might have missed a gear, been a little behind. Then the next time by, through 1 and 2, just wickedly out of shape. Goes around, hits the outside wall. Donald Durant's down on the bottom, gets loose out of 2. Manages to miss everything, keeping it out of the wall. Gerald Poole, the only driver coming to pit road, he obviously is going to use his repair here early. Definitely an interesting start to this one. And good evening to David Abshire cheering on Donald Durant and Mark the Man Dan Tuma. Hey, David, we were looking for suggestions. 3 of the drivers in the field, Aaron Mason, Rick Sargent, Donald Durant, do not have nicknames yet. Want to help us out? Gerald Poole's car is fixed. He is back out on track. I absolutely love it. Donald Durant will henceforth be known as Double D Durant. I don't know if calling Aaron the GOAT is fitting at the moment. All the cars stacked back up, ready for the restart through 3 and 4. Mark Nelson. Mark Dantuma is in control, choosing the high line. Green flag back in the air. And Dantuma once again fires quickly out to the front. Aaron Mason gets past Rick Sargent, now into 3rd. Rick looks back low into turn 3, but washes up. Durant looks underneath. Into 1, Double D pulls a nose ahead, but Rick Sargent on the high side, and Gerald Poole is having significant problems. He just got the wall. There's Gerald on the restart. As we mentioned earlier, a couple of drivers said the car and the track. Oh, he just snaps loose. Tries to correct and ends up hard in the wall. He has gone back to pit road. He has used his fast repair for tonight. Hey, good evening, Richie. Mark Dantuma already checking out. Mark Nelson currently in 2nd, Aaron Mason in 3rd, Rick Sargent and Durant's battling. Sargent now back to 4th. As we mentioned, we saw Gerald struggling. It appears Gerald is out of the race. We saw Gerald struggling, and a lot of the drivers, especially Mark Nelson, talking about the setup, the car and track combination being a real struggle here tonight. Mark said once some heat is in the tires, the car just wants to plow. And if you hit that bump in 1 and 2, the car becomes almost unsavable. Aaron Mason currently in third. Rick Sargent. Oh, Sargent slow. Does Rick have some sort of a problem? Doesn't look like it. See what happened with Rick a moment ago. There he is coming out of 3 and 4. And looked like he may have kissed the wall in 1 and 2. Back down the back straightaway, back through 3 and 4, and caution is back out. Let's take a look at this incident, and it looks like Rick Sargent down into the turn. It looks like he got a little bit loose. The caution is out for Donald Durant. He is towed to pit road. See here if we can see what happened with Rick. Oh, Rick got loose again coming out of turn 2. Durant flies by. Then a few, oh! And Rick Sargent catches a piece of it. Wow. So Rick Sargent, Donald Durant's both on pit road. This track is definitely eating cars alive tonight. Let's see if we can talk to our second place driver, Mark Nelson. Hey, Mark, it's Doug. You got me?
I gotcha.
You were talking about the track earlier tonight. You're not a fan, and obviously some problems with the car and the track. It turns out you might be right. It seems like the track is eating cars tonight.
Yeah, I'm just here so I don't get fined. I have not crashed yet, but there's still time.
There's quite a bit of time. Looks like Durant is going to be on pit road for a while. Gerald already out of the race. Definitely a rough start in the first 20 laps.
Yeah, you know, at this point, it might be worth it to just leave, and I would still get a top 5, because at least I wouldn't go to bed angry.
There is that. Well, hopefully you make it to the end, and man, hopefully the track doesn't eat anybody else tonight.
Yeah, hopefully not. We're running out of cars.
You definitely are. Good luck, buddy.
Thanks, Doug.
Well, Mark Nelson, yeah, he is not confident. Rick Sargent is repaired and back out. Double D Durant is on pit road, but I believe he had previously used his fast repair. Well, he did have to tow. The motor was shot. Looks like Dan Tuma Richie, it's definitely looking easier for him, that's for sure. Looks like Dan Tuma choosing the high line for the restart once again. Mark Nelson in second, Aaron Mason in third, Rick Sargent in fourth. And just did checked our numbers. This will be Aaron Mason's best run of the season. He will have a top 5 here tonight. Could potentially pull off a podium. Pace car is in. Green flag back in the air. Dan Tuma quickly shoots to the lead. Nelson in second, Mason in third, Rick Sargent in fourth. Looks like he did get the car fully repaired, but looks like he just may have missed a gear on the restart. Dan Tuma in one lap pulls out to almost a 1 second lead. Mark Nelson, Aaron Mason still nose to tail. Donald Durant is on pit road still. Let's see if we can get a word. Hey, Donald, it's Doug. You got me? Donald Durant, it's Doug in the booth. You got me? Well, it looks like while his team is working on the car, Durant has gone to get ice cream. Mark Dan Tuma already pulling a gap starting to form between Mark Nelson and Aaron Mason. Rick Sargent back and forth has found his pace and is closing back up on Aaron Mason. Most of the field, when we get to the caution at lap 43, that will be these guys' only stop tonight if the race stays green, as they will have enough fuel to make it to the end.
Doug Durant is here.
Hey, Donald, obviously you were off getting ice cream for a moment, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. I apologize for that.
That's all right. It looks like you just officially retired from the race. A rough night.
Yeah, it was. I felt like I was making ground, and I hit one of them bumps going into turn one there, and it just got loose, and it went flying.
Well, we heard Mark Nelson talking about the car and track combo tonight just being a handful, and that has proven true. Iowa's just eating cars tonight.
Yeah, it's a real fun track to race, but I mean, if you don't hit it, exactly where you need to, it's going to send you spinning.
Well, it definitely has. Hate to see you out early, but still a good finish and good points night.
Yeah, it was. Not the way I wanted to have it finished for sure, but hey, get what you can when you can, right?
Absolutely, buddy. Well, sorry you're out, but good luck next week, man.
All right, thank you, sir. You have a great one, and everybody enjoy.
All right, buddy. Donald Durant's out of the race officially. Mark Dan Tuma out to a 2-second lead now over Mark Nelson. Aaron Mason still holds third. Rick Sargent was gaining ground. However, he has started to lose ground on third place, Aaron Mason. Meanwhile, Mark Dantuma out front ever since switching from the Ford to the Chevy. Dantuma has been on a tear. His first week in the Chevy, he got a win. Another great run at Indy last week. Aaron Mason has now put a 1 second gap on Rick Sargent. And what do you say? We heard him talking, we heard Durant's talking about the bumps in the track and how rough this place is. Let's ride along for a couple laps with our leader. You hear him feathering the throttle through 3 and 4, back on at full power, down the front straightaway. A tap of the brake into turn 1 to set the nose. You see how much that car is bouncing. Back down into 3 and 4, keeping it low to get the big run out of the turn. Back up on the straight. We might be able to tell how bumpy the track is from the nose cam of the leader, Mark the Man Dantuma. Especially when we get back down, you see how much that nose is bouncing up and down. Especially down into 1 and 2. You can't see it very well. There is a big bump right there in the middle of 1 and 2. It's almost like a giant crease in the track, and if you hit it wrong, you are going for a ride. Five laps away from the comp caution. Dantuma has led every lap so far. Mark Nelson in second, not gaining any ground, has pulled away from Aaron Mason in third. Rick Sargent in fourth, still trying to gain some ground, sitting about 1 1/4 seconds back in fourth. It has definitely been an interesting weekend of racing. If you missed out on the excitement at Spa, make sure you check it out on our YouTube channel. And on our YouTube channel, we have a bunch of racing and trucking shorts coming out over this week. We're actively working on increasing the number of YouTube shorts we put out every week to give you guys more entertainment. Make sure you're following on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Mark Dantuma starting lap 43. I believe they'll throw the caution at the end of lap 43. Mark Nelson is slow out of 2. Looked like something went wrong with Mark Nelson through 1 and 2. That time he's still going. And comp caution is out. We will see all the drivers on pit road for 4 tires and fuel. This likely will be the final stop of the night. Drivers stack up behind the pace car, getting ready to bring them down. And once they complete pit stops, we will get a word with our leader. What in the world? Mark Nelson is going to stay out. Mark Nelson looks like he is staying out just to lead a lap and pick up some points. Mark Dantuma, Aaron Mason, Rick Sargent, all on pit road. All 3 drivers complete their pit stops. I expect to see Mark Nelson in this time. Let's see if we can get a word with Mark Dantuma. Hey, Mark, it's Doug. You got me?
I got you, Doug. What's up?
Hey, that Chevy looks awfully fast tonight.
I know something's wrong, obviously, in the universe for this thing to be up front like that.
It has been a very interesting race, and the track seems to be eating the cars.
Yeah, I think it's actually aliens that are doing it. They're just sucking them up.
Oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. It is.
And, well, corn crop circles, that's all got to be figured in.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, you've had a pretty good run. Mark Nelson stays out here to hit pit or to lead a lap, so now he'll be back in 4th. Will you be able to check out again and just cruise for the remainder of the race?
I don't think so. I punished that right front pretty bad on that run. I'm going to have to take it easy because it could go green the whole way, and if I run it like I did last time, I won't make it.
Well, it's definitely going to be an interesting second part of the race. Good luck, Mark.
All right, thank you, Doug.
Mark Nelson did come to pit road, completed his stop. He comes back out in 4th. He will now have to clear a couple of cars, but if Dantuma does slow it up a little bit, Mark Nelson may have a shot. Aaron Mason sitting right on his bumper. Aaron's best race of the season so far, and he is guaranteed his best finish of the season so far. A great night for Aaron Mason. Lights are out on the pace car. They stack back up side by side. Coming through 3 and 4, pace car about to drop in. They could go green from here. Pace car is in, green flag back in the air. Mark Nelson on the high line quickly clears Rick Sargent. Up top, will he get the bump just a little bit, but he manages to hold on to it. Rick fights back on the bottom to hold on to third. Aaron Mason managing to stay with Dan Tuma for the moment. Mark Nelson looks back underneath Rick Sargent. Side by side down the back straightaway. Mark able to sit. Oh, Rick gets the wall. Keeps his foot in. I think he kissed the wall again on the front stretch, but maintains pace. Aaron Mason just set his personal fastest lap of the race. Meanwhile, Mark Dantuma just set the fastest lap of the night and the first driver to get under the 24-second mark at 23.96. Rick Sargent still holds on to third for the moment. Mark Nelson back and forth. Mark Dantuma just repeated his fast lap last time by a 23.85, and this time a 23.84. I don't think he's conserving that right front nearly as much as he thought he was. However, here at Iowa, if you have enough of a lead, you could make a pit stop after the tires fall off, and with the speed of a fresh set of Goodyears, you could run back to the lead. Have a good night, Richie. Mark Nelson has made the move past Rick Sargent up to third, and is less than half a second now behind Aaron Mason. Aaron Mason and Mark Nelson have set their fastest laps of the night in the last couple of laps. Both of them identical laps, 24.16. Aaron Mason saw the opportunity tonight with the smaller field. He has taken it and is running with it. Mark Nelson in third, sits half a second back. Rick Sargent right on his bumper. Meanwhile, Dan Tuma out front by 2.7 seconds. He is on a Sunday cruise. Aaron Mason holding on to second, but Mark Nelson, Rick Sargent closing the gap. Mark sets up, looking to the inside as they head off into 1 and 2. He cannot get the run. Rick Sargent goes up the track. Thought he was going to carry more momentum off of 2. Iowa is definitely an interesting track. The preferred line through 1 and 2 is down on the bottom. The preferred line through 3 and 4 is up top. As Mark Nelson goes by, looking under. Oh! Mark is loose, recovers, gets it going, but a close call with Aaron Mason and Mark Nelson. Mark doing everything he could not to run into him. Take a look at this from another angle. You'll be able to tell when Mark Nelson just yanks the car down. Car started drifting up, coming through 1 and 2, pulls it back down, carries that momentum off of turn 2, but just inches away, yanks it down the track and saves it. Great sportsmanship by Mark Nelson. Aaron Mason now has second. Rick Sargent in third. Mark Nelson in fourth, 2 seconds back. And Mark Dantuma continues to run away with this one. His lead now 5.25 seconds. Aaron Mason is now starting to pull away just a little bit from Rick Sargent. Rick may have kissed the wall there just a bit out of turn 2. He has definitely lost some momentum, and Mark Nelson already back in the picture. Mark definitely driving angry after that incident a little bit ago. He was 2 seconds back. Once he regained the track, he is now 0.9 seconds behind Rick. And last time by, the Mark Nelson was the fastest car on track. Rick Sargent is way loose out of 2. There's Rick coming out of turn 2. The back end just steps out. He slammed that inside wall. Rick has already used his fast repair as he toes to pit road. His chance at a win and night may be over. Folks, we're going to dial up and listen in on Mark Nelson's team radio. Okay, so that Mark Nelson is just listening to music, cruising around the track. Mark D'Antuma way out front. Mark Nelson in second. Aaron Mason in third. Rick Sargent officially out. Aaron Mason will get his first top 3 of the season here tonight. Hey, good evening, Kevin. Yeah. Mark D'Antuma's lead continued to grow. Mark Nelson in second. Aaron Mason in third. Oh, D'Antuma drifts it out of 4. The tire's going away. He quickly recovers. The lead is shrinking rapidly. Mark Nelson goes by. Aaron Mason is coming in. They all pitted about 40 laps ago, I suspect. The tires have started to go away. Let's take a look at D'Antuma's incident. Mark coming through turns 3 and 4. The back end just steps out into the grass. He manages to get it down to that road beside pit road. Gets it going back up on the track, but Mark Nelson gets by. Mark D'Antuma looked like was just out helping the groundskeeper mow the grass. Mark Nelson has a 2.7 second lead. Aaron Mason stopped for tires and repairs. Did not need fuel as they could go the distance. They could go 90 to 95 laps on a tank here tonight. Mark D'Antuma now 3.8 seconds back. It looks like the tires have gone away after that drive through the grass. He is coming to pit road. He did not take any damage, but it will be 4 tires and fuel. Mark Nelson, meanwhile, continuing to fly around the track, stretching the tire wear as far as possible. Mark Dantuma back out on track in second. Aaron Mason in third. Both drivers currently a lap or more down until Mark Nelson hits pit road. Tire fall off has not been huge here tonight. And it looks like at the moment, looks like Mark Nelson, who's been out on those tires for about 42 laps, his fastest lap at 24.16, last time by 24.94, so only about 0.8 of a second fall off. Definitely not as much as what we have seen with the Xfinity cars, trucks, and the old Cup cars. Mark Dantuma on those fresh tires, though, setting some blistering laps, trying to close the gap on Mark Nelson. Mark Nelson, if he can play the strategy right here, have the freshest tires for the longest, he could pull off a win here at a track he doesn't even like. Mark Dantuma, though, definitely closing the gap very, very quickly. Last time by, Mark Dantuma gained about 2 seconds on the leader. Mark Nelson continues to fly around the track. Aaron Mason is closing in. He will be able, hopefully, to unlap himself, get one of his laps back before Nelson goes to pit road, may be able to even position himself back to the lead lap and in the fight for the win. Aaron now looks underneath Mark Nelson, and it's easily going to fly by on the fresher tires as they go off into one. Aaron got one of his laps back, down the same lap as Mark Dantuma, about 15 seconds behind. Dantuma still running about 1.5 seconds faster than Mark Nelson. Mark Nelson could actually stay out for the remainder of the race. He does not have to pit for fuel tonight. But would he be able to hold off Mark Dantuma, who's still 1 second a lap faster? He's 31 seconds behind at the moment with 33 laps to go. Mark Nelson came into the night with the points lead. Mark Dantuma was third at points behind Gerald Poole. He will gain some ground here tonight. But if Mark Nelson pulls off the win, he will extend his points lead. .30 laps to go for Mark Nelson. Mark Dantuma is closing in to get his lap back. The question is, does he have enough time to go all the way back around? Mark Nelson is betting that he cannot. Aaron Mason still riding along in third, not gaining any ground at the moment, but he really doesn't need to. It will be his best finish of the season. He is guaranteed a podium here tonight. Definitely an interesting turn of events here tonight. But I think that would be the definition of this whole weekend. Everything that happened at Spa yesterday, today, and then these interesting circumstances here tonight. Make sure you come back tomorrow night at 9 Eastern. Jones BS Racing has some very special stuff planned tomorrow night. We're all looking forward to seeing what they have up their sleeve. Word has it some of the original drivers will be back, as tomorrow will be Jones BS Racing's 3rd anniversary. I got you, buddy. Mark Dantuma goes by Mark Nelson, now putting himself back on the lead lap. Dantuma now 24.8 seconds behind. Last time by, he was about a second faster than Mark Nelson. He has 24 laps to make up now. 24 seconds. He might be able to get it done. Mark Nelson is obviously committed . Mark is obviously committed to no pit stop. And it may very well work out. But as this race winds down, things are definitely going to tighten up. Rick Sargent, Donald Durant, Gerald Poole all out early. As we heard Mark Dantuma mention, aliens are taking the drivers. It's Iowa, cornfields, crop signs, you know, all of that. Mark Dantuma is staying on pace to catch back up to Mark Nelson. 21 seconds behind the leader now. But Dantuma's tires likely to equalize before he gets there. "20 laps to go for Mark Nelson." We heard during the early caution when we talked to him, he did not expect much here tonight. But right now, Mark Nelson has the lead by 20.6 seconds. Mark Dantuma's lap time starting to slow down a little bit. Last time by, he was only 0.3 of a second faster than Mark Nelson. Down the back straightaway once again, his lead 20.1 seconds. "15 laps to go for the Mark Nelson." Mark Dantuma, after his pit stop, got 4 fresh tires, took off, managed to run Mark down, regain the lead lap. And has closed the gap dramatically, but it does look like the tires have started to equalize. He is not going to close that 19.5 second gap quickly enough. Mark Nelson's lead holding at 18.25 seconds over Mark Dantuma. Aaron Mason luckily avoiding all the chaos here tonight. Caution is out. Donald Durant had just come off pit road after significant repairs and has a problem. This is definitely a wild turn of late race events. No downforce due to the entire front clip being gone. Durant's trying to get enough laps to get past Rick Sargent, but the car just not handling. And Mark Nelson is coming to pit road. Mark Dantuma is in. Aaron Mason will be the lucky dog. So Aaron Mason will be waived. I do believe this will put Aaron back on the lead lap. He'll be able to go in, get 4 tires and fuel. Aaron has been fast on fresh tires all night. Can he get it done here? Definitely an interesting turn of events here late in the race. Aaron Mason now headed to pit road. He is back on the lead lap, back in the fight. Donald Durant's will be waived by the pace car with 1 to go. However, he will not be able to complete. There's not enough laps left in the race for him to get to and pass Rick Surgeon. Mark Nelson comes off pit road with the lead. Dan Tuma in second. Aaron Mason will come out in third, and it will be a 3-car battle for the win with less than 10 to go. Just when the race was pretty much in the bag for Mark Nelson, things take a very dramatic turn. Mark Nelson and Mark Dantuma have been the 2 fastest cars all night long. Dantuma qualified up front next to Mark Nelson. Aaron Mason, though, has been able to run with them and give them a run for their money on fresh tires. DJ, that is awesome, and I 100% agree with you, buddy. I'd have done the same. DJ, just give him an old bump and run. All right, folks, here we go. It'll be about 6 to go at the line. Pace car is in the 3-car battle. Green flag is in the air. Mark Nelson gets a perfect launch into the lead. Dan Tuma in second. Aaron Mason right behind in third. Dan Tuma looking underneath Mark Nelson. As long as they are battling, Aaron will be able to close back up on them. Oh, Dan Tuma a little loose out of 4. Side by side, back down the back straightaway with 5 to go. Nelson gets the nose ahead through 3 and 4. At the line, it was Mark Nelson, but it doesn't get much closer. Dan Tuma pulled ahead a little bit out of 2. He gets the nose ahead again as they go off in 3. And Dan Tuma clears out of 4. Mark Nelson goes for the crossover. Oh, Nelson loose out of 2. Quickly comes back up the track. Still in striking distance. 2 laps to go at Iowa. Mark Dantuma has the lead. Mark Nelson still right there with him. Aaron Mason lost a little ground, will come on in 3rd. Nelson looked a little loose as the white flag comes out one more time around. Which mark will it be? Dantuma gets the better run out of turn 2 down the backstretch. Into turn 3, Nelson sends it as deep as he can. It won't be enough. Mark Dantuma wins at Iowa. And Dantuma set the fastest lap of the night on the final lap. Mark Nelson coming home in 2nd. Aaron Mason in 3rd. Let's get a word with our top 3, starting with Aaron Mason. Aaron, definitely a wild night, but you kept yourself out of trouble there.
Yeah, it was kind of touch and go there. Once that right rear started feeling like jelly, it was hard to maintain the car.
I noticed everybody having a little bit of a problem with that. Man, your best finish of the season, regardless of the circumstances, you were on the pole, and you were able to run with these guys on fresh tires, had a ton of speed.
Yeah, just not enough.
Well, man, a great job tonight, buddy. Congratulations.
Thanks, Doug.
Aaron Mason coming home in 3rd. Mark Nelson in 2nd. Definitely, Mark, an interesting way for the night to end with that battle there at the end.
Yeah, that caution really sucks. You know, I was gonna win the race. I was, and that ruined it. So I thought maybe I could beat 3 cars in the field, but it wasn't meant to be.
Well, still a great run. Obviously a dominant performance. If not for the late race caution, you win by a huge margin. Man, great job tonight. Congratulations, buddy.
Thanks, Doug.
And finally, our winner, Mark the Man Dantuma. Mark, you're back in victory lane, and you managed to get the infield mode.
Yeah, that was a pretty exciting time. I thought the grass needed a little mowing, so I figured I'd take care of that.
Well, I'm sure that the groundskeeper will appreciate that. They do have a lot of cleanup to do after tonight, but man, that was definitely a wild race. You definitely had all the speed tonight, and everything fell back your way after it looked like you were settling for 2nd.
Yeah, I was fast, but I just ran the tires off, and nothing I could do could save them. So that caution just basically put me back in cycle. So I kind of lucked out on that.
Well, man, a great job. Your 2nd win of the season. Congratulations, Mark.
Thank you, Doug.
Mark Dantuma coming home with the win. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you all had as much fun as we did. Don't forget to follow on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and YouTube. And we will see you all tomorrow night at 9 Eastern for Jones BS Racing. A very special night. Have a good night, everybody.